Yo, what's up fight fans? It's Will Butler here, my fight training channel. I'm down at New Body Health and Fitness, my personal training studio. And I've got an absolute wicked question. I can't wait to answer this from my main man, Dan Wheeler, on Facebook saying, just simply, could Bruce Lee become UFC champion? And the answer is, hell yeah, Bruce Lee could become UFC champion. Why the hell not? Right, I'll break this down for you, pretty simply. If the UFC was about when Bruce Lee was about, we all know Bruce Lee was by far ahead of his time. I mean, if this was say UFC 1, when you had Ken Shan, Walkabout and Royce Gracie and all them other brilliant fighters, right, Bruce Lee already started dabbling into the concept of mixed martial arts. There's even pictures of him doing an armbar. So we all know that he was very open-minded, and I think if he would have took one look at Royce Gracie in his first fight and figured so much stuff out. Don't get me wrong, I think Royce Gracie is a brilliant fighter, and I think Jiu Jitsu is brilliant. That's why I'm a fighter myself. But I also think Jiu Jitsu, if you train against someone and you've never done any Brazilian Jiu Jitsu before, you're going to get swamped. Totally 100% agree with that. But I also believe you don't have to train in it for as long to be able to defend it a bit easier for MMA, for a fight. So, and I think Bruce Lee was so knowledgeable and he was so athletic, naturally gifted, I think that the UFC 1 would have been the hardest one for him. But he was ahead of his time anyway. So I still think he would have pulled it off. Right, this future UFC now, if Bruce Lee was in his prime today, and he was in his prime, say like 25, peak of his game, peak of his fitness, yes, even more easier I reckon he could have. I know a lot of people say, yeah, but athletes are so much more better and people are breaking so many more boundaries. But like I said earlier, it's already proof Bruce Lee was ahead of his time. Plus, a lot of people turn around and say that, like, about how his style, there's a lot of moves he wouldn't been able to use in the UFC, like obviously you can't use any eye strikes to the throat or anything like that. But Bruce Lee sparred a lot. I mean, there's talking of Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee sparring with him. So he knew how to spar to fight, not to completely kill his opponent, but to injure him to win and to point score, because kind of that's what sparring is. Even if you're having a light spar with your mates, you're still trying to get the better of them. And I just think that, like I said before, he was such ahead of his time. If he was about today, he would have even more resources to be even further ahead of his time. The accuracy of Bruce Lee's kicks, I remember hearing an interview from one of his close friends. Right? He used to, you know, like if someone flicks you behind the ear, he used to kick people, kick out, boom, and flick their ear with his foot, and they would turn around and apparently he'd be standing there normal. That's how precise and accurate he could throw his kicks. I mean, he was such a perfectionist and such a master. I think he would have mastered the Jiu Jitsu, which, let's be honest with you, if there was any chance of anyone beating him, it would probably be through the wrestling or Jiu Jitsu, because he weren't known for that. He was known as a stand-up striker and he flashy kicks. But then also, when you think about it, you look at a lot of the UFC fighters today, what they're slowly turning into is that more sort of that style, that loose style of being able to throw them kicks and throw them strikes a lot more looser than, say, a boxer. Even though also it was well documentary that Bruce Lee was a fan of Western boxing, and he even admitted to copying a lot of Muhammad Ali's footwork and movement. That's how much of a perfectionist Bruce Lee was. So if Bruce Lee was about today, yeah, 100% I think he could have become UFC champion, and I think he would have held the belt for quite a while as well, if he would have decided to go down that road and compete in the UFC. If you like this video and if you like my opinions, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you don't, just please pop it in the inbox below the video. I'd like to hear other people's opinions. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty open-minded. I'd like to hear how other people think Bruce Lee would have got on, what he would have found hard. I think it's such an interesting and fascinating topic to talk about, so please pop me your comments and I'll try and get back to you. Also, you're going to find some links to Amazon for a bit of merchandise for Bruce Lee, some of his books. So if you're not as familiar with Bruce Lee and you are a young and up-and-coming fighter, and Bruce Lee's probably obviously not around when you were coming up, check him out, check out some of his philosophies. There's a reason why he was a master and he was so well respected. So have a look at that as well. See you all soon. Fight train.